Hello students, how are you all? I'm Sonia and I welcome you all to my channel Sonia ki Scienceshala. I'm going to teach science to class 6th, 7th and 8th. I'll be helping you to understand the chapter, to make notes, to make mind maps, and for your exams I'm going to share with you many question banks so that you can prepare well for your exams. Well, today I'm going to start the second chapter of class 8 science. The name of the chapter is The Invisible Living World Beyond Our Naked Eyes. So students, first tell me, आपने सबसे छोटी living thing क्या देखी है? एक छोटी सी मछली, एक छोटा सा insect, maybe एक छोटा सा ant. Do you really think the thing that you are telling about is the smallest living organism? No. There are still smaller living organisms in this world. Today, in this chapter, we are going to talk about all those living organisms which are invisible to our naked eyes. If we cannot see them, that doesn't mean that they don't exist. They do exist. How do you know that they exist? Tell me, ये बीमारियाँ कैसे होती हैं? How do you fall ill? Dysentery, malaria, all these diseases, ये हो कैसे रहा है? These diseases are being caused because of different types of invisible living organism. Invisible means they are invisible to our naked eyes. They are not invisible to the microscope. So, throughout this chapter, we are going to talk about all these living organisms which we actually cannot see, but they do exist. So, let us quickly dive into the chapter. You know, earlier our ancestors used to think that if you are fallen ill, उनको लगता था कि भगवान आपको पाप दे रहा है, आपने कुछ गलत काम किया है उसकी वजह से. Is it not funny? Yes, it is. But धीरे धीरे they came to know कि it is not भगवान जी who is causing all this. It is the microscopic living organisms which are causing many types of diseases. So how did it start? It started with the discovery of an object called lens. Yes, you have also seen lens, have you? Do you remember you have always been playing with that magnifying glass of yours? The main part of that magnifying glass. What is it? It is a lens. क्या करता है वो छोटी छोटी चीज़ों को बड़ा दिखाता है आपको, right? It enlarges the image of smaller things. A lens is a small piece of glass which makes the smaller things look bigger. You know students, आप भी एक लेंस बना सकते हो. एक ट्रांसपेरेंट ग्लास ले लीजिए जिससे आप पानी पीते हैं and pour some water into it. उसमें थोड़ा सा पानी डाल लीजिए. अब उस ग्लास को जब आप अपने नोटबुक के ऊपर या बुक के ऊपर रखेंगे, you can see the enlarged image of the alphabets over which you have put the glass. So, see, you have also made a lens. Tell me, लेंस और कहाँ यूज़ होता है? माइक्रोस्कोप के अलावा लेंस को हम कौन कौन से और जगह में यूज़ करते हैं? जल्दी जल्दी. Number 1, मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास, ऑलरेडी स्पोकन अबाउट इट. Number 2, द कैमराज. आपके मोबाइल कैमरा में भी लेंस है, राइट? Number 3, द बाइनोक्यूलर्स, द टेलीस्कोप एंड योर रीडिंग ग्लासेस. इज इट नॉट? सो सी, लेंस जो है वो बहुत यूजफुल चीज़ है. अगर छोटी चीज़ें देखनी है तो यूज़ अ लेंस एंड यू विल बी एबल टू सी a larger image of those smaller things. Why do we call it a lens? Because of its shape. It looks like a lentil. Lentil is dal, which is thicker at the center and tapers at both the ends. So, this is the reason we call it lens. So, आप क्या कर सकते हो लेंस के साथ? You take a magnifying glass and look through a leaf. Leaf में what all things do you see? You see veins, you see midrib, you see the lamina of the leaf, you see the petiole, right? But when you see through a lens, you will be able to see small compartments in that. We are going to come to that. Before that, we need to talk about who discovered lens and how it came into being. Lens was discovered way back, and that lens led to the discovery of microscope. First compound microscope was made by Robert Hooke. You know what Robert Hooke did? he developed his compound microscope, and through his microscope he saw many small organisms and things, and those things used to appear 200 to 300 times bigger. So what he did? He drew the images of those things and he published those images in his book called Micrographia. Robert Hooke studied a thin slice of cork through his microscope, and he found that it is made up of small compartments, and he named those compartments as cells, and thus he coined the term cell. At that very time, there was one more scientist named Antonie van Leeuwenhoek. Now he also discovered many microscopes. His microscopes were better than those of Robert Hooke, and he studied many smaller organisms through his microscopes. Actually, he was the one who discovered bacteria, yeast and the red blood cell. And this is the reason he is called the father of microbiology. Now, let us quickly go back to the discovery of Robert Hooke. उसने क्या किया था? He took a thin slice of cork and he observed it through his microscope. What did he find? Small compartments. And what was the term that he coined? A cell. So what is a cell? A cell is said to be the structural and functional unit of life. जैसे कि एक बड़ी सी बिल्डिंग छोटे छोटे ब्रिक से बनी होती है, वैसे ही हमारा बॉडी या कोई भी और लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म का बॉडी छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से बना होता है, उसको कहते हैं सेल. सो सेल इज द यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ. नाउ द नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट वाज सेल इज द स्ट्रक्चरल एंड फंक्शनल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ, राइट? सो फर्स्ट वी विल टॉक अबाउट द स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट. नाउ क्या हमारी पूरी बॉडी एक सेल से बनी है? नहीं, it is made up of many cells. So there is an organization. The first level of organization is when small cells come together to form tissues. Now these tissues come together to form organ. The organs, they come together to form the organ system, and then the organ system, they come together to form the organism. That organism can be you, it can be a tree, it can be a dog, it can be a cat, it can be rat or anything. छोटी छोटी इनविजिबल सेल्स जो कि आपको नेकेड आई से दिखती भी नहीं है. सी, यही सेल्स मिलकर एक पूरा बड़ा सा ऑर्गेनिज्म बना रही है. इट इज नॉट ओनली यू, द एलिफेंट्स, दे आर सो बिग बट स्टिल दे आर मेड अप ऑफ न्यूमरस स्मॉल सेल्स. दिस इज द रीजन वी कॉल सेल टू बी द स्ट्रक्चरल यूनिट ऑफ लाइफ. What are the levels of organization? We start with a single cell called zygote. These cells, they divide to form tissue. The tissues come together to form organs. These organs come together to form organ system. And these organ system forms the organism. This organism can be you, me, the plants, the animals and all other multicellular organisms that you find around you. Now tell me, हम तो बड़े हैं, हमारी बॉडी कौन कौन सा फंक्शन करती है? We do the process of respiration, we do the process of digestion, excretion, circulatory system is there inside our body. There are various different systems carried out by the body. So tell me, what about those microorganisms which are made up of single cell? Say bacteria. क्या वो भी सारे functions करता है जो आप करते हो? Yes, the bacteria also perform all the functions of the body which you do. Respiration, digestion, excretion, and think of all the functions that your body does. The bacteria also does all those functions. So, you see, one single cell is doing all the functions which you as an organism are doing. This is the reason the cell is called the functional unit of life. We know that in a multicellular organism like us, the functions like digestion or respiration is carried by different organs. Similarly, in the cell, there are organelles which carry out the different functions of the cell. Even the cells in your body which makes your body, they also perform all the functions that your entire body does. Single cell of your body also does the function of respiration, excretion, digestion, and what all functions you can think of. This is the reason the cells are called the functional unit of life. Now you understood why a cell is called a structural and the functional unit of life? The question arises that the cells of the plants and those of the animals, are they the same? Do they look same? Do they function similar? The plant cell and the animal cell differ from each other in some characteristics. There are many organelles which are similar in both the plant cell and the animal cell. But at the same time, there are few organelles which are found in the plant cell and they are not found in the animal cell. Similarly, there are few organelles which are found in the animal cell and which are not found in the plant cell. To understand the difference between a plant cell and an animal cell, let us quickly make two slides. First is the slide of an onion peel cell.
Take an onion, wash and cut it. Pull out the thin, transparent layer. Stain the peel in saffronin. Rinse it thoroughly in water.
Put a drop of glycerin on the slide. Slowly place a cover slip to avoid air bubbles. Gently wipe with a blotting paper. Observe the slide under a microscope.
And the second is to make the slide of the cheek cell that is present inside your mouth.
First, rinse your mouth with clean water. Gently scrape the inside of your cheek. Mix the cells into a drop of water. Add 1 drop of methylene blue stain. Now you can see the stained cheek cells and nuclei.
So students, you made that onion peel slide. What did you notice in that? You might have seen rectangular, brick-like structures arranged closely packed to each other, right? Those rectangular structures are called cells. Let us do a quick comparison between the observations that you found in the onion cell and the cheek cell. The first is you found that the shape of the onion cell were rectangular, brick shaped. While the shape of the cheek cell were irregular, rounded. There was a presence of cell wall in the onion peel cell. Cell wall was absent in the cheek cell. In the onion peel cell, there was a large central vacuole, while in the cheek cell, the vacuoles were small and not so prominent. The nucleus in the onion peel cell was towards the side due to the large vacuole, while in case of the cheek cell, the nucleus was present near the center. Let us quickly discuss about few of the organelles that we saw in the cells. The first thing that you saw in the plant cell was the cell wall. The cell wall is the outermost covering of the plant cell. It is made up of cellulose. It gives strength, protection and a fixed shape to the plant cell, and it is not present in the animal cell. The cell membrane is a thin, flexible boundary that is present inside the cell wall of a plant cell, and it is the outermost boundary of the animal cell. It encloses a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. It is a semi-permeable membrane and it allows few things to enter the cell and few things to leave the cell. It works like a security gate of your school. Okay. The next is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like fluid present inside the cell. It holds all the cell organelles in its place, and the cytoplasm is the site for all the life processes taking place inside the cell. You also saw the nucleus, right? It is called the brain of the cell. It is usually located in the center of the cell and it controls all the activities of the cell. It contains the hereditary material of the cell, which is passed from the mother cell to the daughter cells, and that hereditary material which is present inside the nucleus is called the DNA of the cell. You have also seen chloroplasts. They were present in the plant cell. These are the organelles which gives the green color to the leaves, and they are the site for photosynthesis. So, they are the organelles which are exclusively present in the plant cell. They are not present in the animal cells, and this is the reason why the animal cells cannot perform the process of photosynthesis. Let us discuss some of the important parts of the cell and their functions. The first is the cell membrane. The cell membrane is a thin flexible covering. It is found both in the plant cell as well as in the animal cell, and it controls the movement of substances in and out of the cell. The next is the cell wall. Cell wall is a rigid outer layer found outside the cell membrane only in the plants and the fungal cells. It provides support, protection and shape to the cells. The next is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance. It is found in all the cells inside the cell membrane. It contains cell organelles and is a site for important chemical reactions. Next we will talk about is the nucleus. The nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. And it contains the genetic material. And it is often called the control center of the cell. The next we will talk about is plastids. Now these plastids are found mainly in the plant cells. One of the plastid is chloroplast, which helps the plant to do the process of photosynthesis. Chloroplast contains chlorophyll, which helps in the process of photosynthesis. Next we will talk about is vacuoles. They are storage sacs containing food, waste or any other substances. There is a large central vacuole in plant cells. In the animal cells, the vacuoles are small. Now, let us quickly compare the organelles that are present in the plant cell and the animal cell. So students, let us quickly see what are the similarities and differences between the plant cells and the animal cells. First, we will talk about the similarities. You can see here the plant cell as well as animal cell has these organelles and they are called mitochondria. Then comes the next organelle which is present in both the plant cell as well as the animal cell, and that is the cytoplasm. The next is the cell membrane. In plant cell, the cell membrane is surrounded by an outer layer called the cell wall, but it is not present in the animal cell. The next one is the vacuoles. The vacuoles in plant cells are larger as compared to the animal cells. The next is the presence of ribosomes. Next is the presence of nucleus. Nucleus is present in all the cells except the bacterial cell where the nucleus is not present. And the last one we will talk about is the endoplasmic reticulum. Now we will talk about the differences between the plant cell and the animal cell. Animal cells have organelles called lysosomes, and they have got centrioles which helps in the cell division, which are not present in the plant cell. And in plant cell we can find the cell wall, which is the outermost layer. The cell membrane is present inside the cell wall. The next one which is present in the plant cell are the plastids. One of the plastid is chloroplast, which helps the plant in the process of photosynthesis. And since the plastids are not present in the animal cells cannot do the process of photosynthesis. Now that you know that there are differences between a plant cell and an animal cell, tell me, are all the animal cells similar? आपके बॉडी में जितने सेल्स हैं क्या सारे एक जैसे दिखते हैं? नहीं, they are not similar. There are different types of cells present in our body. We will talk about those cells which are mentioned in your book. First is the nerve cell. They are long, they look like trees, right, with many branches. There are spindle shaped muscle cells. Why is it different from the nerve cell? Because nerve cell का काम क्या होता है? To pass message from one place of the body to our brain or to our spinal cord so that we can react. मान लो आपने कोई गर्म चीज़ छू दी, ठीक है, तो आप तुरंत ही हाथ हटा लेते हो, बट इतनी जल्दी आपके ब्रेन को पता भी चल गया और आपके ब्रेन ने आपको ये मैसेज भी दे दिया कि अपनी हाथ हटा लो. ये कैसे हुआ? It is because of the presence of those neurons or the nerve cells. At the same time, अगर कोई चीज़ को सामने लाना है तो मसल को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करना पड़ता है, और अगर किसी चीज़ को दूर रखना है तो मसल्स को रिलैक्स करना पड़ता है. सो ये मसल्स का रिलैक्सिंग कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग जो है वो एक डिफरेंट टाइप का काम है. उसके लिए हमारे बॉडी में स्पिंडल शेप्ड सेल्स होते हैं. हमारे बॉडी में जो ब्लड घूम रहा है, द रेड ब्लड सेल, देयर आर वाइट ब्लड सेल्स ऑल्सो इन आवर बॉडी. वाइट ब्लड सेल्स का काम क्या होता है? डिशम डिशम करना. अगर कोई जर्म आपके बॉडी में एंटर कर गया तो उसको मारने का काम कौन करता है? वाइट ब्लड सेल. सो द शेप ऑफ द रेड ब्लड सेल इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम दैट ऑफ द वाइट ब्लड सेल. So in our body also there are different types of cells with different shape and different function. It is not only with our body, it is with the body of all the multicellular organisms. Think of any plant, there also you will find different types of cells. They are of different shapes and size depending on the function they are doing. Let us quickly discuss few important cells and their functions that are mentioned in your book. The first one is neuron. Neurons are specialized cells that receive and transmit electrical signal. In our body to coordinate different activities. About the muscle cells. Muscle cells are specialized cells that contract and relax to produce movement. They contain many mitochondria to provide energy for contraction. Now these muscle cells are also present in your esophagus and in fact throughout the alimentary canal, and that is how the food that you gulp in reaches your stomach. And now we are going to talk about the observations of Antonie van Leeuwenhoek. He observed different types of bacteria, yeast cell, etc. Right? So we are also going to study about those microorganisms. For that we are going to make two different slides. First slide will tell us about the organisms that live in soil, and the second slide will tell us about the organisms that live in water. We take water from the pond and we give it a gentle shake. After that we let it settle. After that we take a drop of water from that and put it on the slide, and we put a cover slip over it, and we observe that under the microscope. we find the following organisms.
The three main microorganisms that we found in the pond water were Euglena, amoeba and paramecium. Now let us quickly study about amoeba. Amoeba is a single-celled organism with an irregular shape. It moves and captures food using temporary projections called pseudopodia. Pseudopodia means false feet. The body, it elongates and forms the feet, and that helps the amoeba to move from one place to another. The next is paramecium. Paramecium is a single-celled slipper-shaped organism. They move with the help of numerous tiny hair-like structures called cilia. Cilia also helps in eating. We also saw algae. They are photosynthetic, that is, they can synthesize their own food. They contain chlorophyll. Examples are Spirogyra, Chlamydomonas, seaweed, etc.
To study the organisms present in the soil, what we do? We take some soil and put it in a container. We put some water in that and give it a gentle stir. After some time, we take a drop of water from that container and put it on a slide. We put a cover slip over it and we observe the slide under a microscope. What do we find?
The first one is the bread mold. It is a fungus and it commonly grows on moist or stale bread. That is why the name bread mold. The most common bread mold is the rhizopus. It appears as cotton-like thread with a black or colored spot. It obtains food from the bread by breaking down organic matter. The next one is the mold. First we talked about bread mold, now we are talking about mold. Molds are fungi that grows on damp food, leaves, wood and other material. They usually appear as fuzzy or powdery growth. It can be of different colors. Now molds reproduce by producing tiny structures called spores. The next we will talk about is algae. Now this algae can be found in the moist places in land. They are simple photosynthetic organisms. They have chlorophyll in them and that is the reason they can photosynthesize, they can make their own food. Examples are Spirogyra, Chlamydomonas, seaweeds, etc. The next one we will be talking about are bacteria. Bacteria can be found in land, in sea, in air and all other places that you can think about. Microscopic, single-celled organism found almost everywhere. Bacteria can be differentiated based on their shape. There are sphere-shaped bacteria called the cocci. Rod-shaped bacteria are called bacillus. Comma-shaped bacteria are called vibrio. And the spiral bacteria are called spirilla.
You might have found all these organisms, or you might have found few more, you might have found few less. If you have found some other organism, do let me know. Note it down in your diary and talk to your teacher. You can talk to me as well through my email. In fact, students, it is not only the soil or water where the microorganisms live. They are present in the air that you breathe. They are present everywhere, on your hair, on your dress, on your hands, on your legs, on your face. They are omnipresent. So, what are the different types of microorganisms?
There are different types of microorganisms. We can categorize them broadly under bacteria, fungi, algae, and protozoa. Bacteria are tiny single-celled organisms found almost everywhere. The examples of bacteria are E. coli. E. coli is found in our gut, and lactobacillus, which helps in the formation of curd. The next category is fungi. Fungi includes microscopic organism that obtains food from organic matter. There are many fungi which are not invisible. They are visible to our naked eye. For example, the mushroom. Those fungi which are microscopic examples are yeast, bread mold, the next category is algae. Algae are microscopic simple organisms that can make their own food using sunlight. That means the algae has chlorophyll in them, which helps them to photosynthesize. Examples are chlamydomonas and spirogyra. The next category is protozoa. Protozoa are microscopic single-celled organisms mostly found in water or in moist places. Examples are amoeba and paramecium.
Have you heard about viruses, student? Are they similar to bacteria? No. The viruses are a link between living things and non-living things. Why did I say so? Because the viruses, they are non-living outside the body of a living organism. The viruses live, or they do all the activities which a living thing does inside the body of a host, and that host can be a bacteria, a plant, an animal, or any living object. Outside the body of a living object, the viruses are non-living. They are just like any other non-living object. You can say that they are just like salt. You can store them in shelf. So the viruses are called a link between a living thing and a non-living thing. They are unlike the bacteria.
A virus is a very tiny infectious agent that can reproduce only inside a living host. It is made mainly of the genetic material, that is DNA or RNA, surrounded by a protein coat. It is not considered fully living organism because they cannot reproduce independently. So, few of the examples of diseases are influenza, COVID, chickenpox, measles, etc.
In the next part of the chapter, we are going to study the uses and the harmful effects of the microorganism. Let us quickly talk about those organisms which causes problems. You might have seen कि अगर आपने ब्रेड को बहुत दिन तक बाहर रख दिया और ह्यूमिडिटी है और गर्मी है तो उस ब्रेड के ऊपर काली काली सी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं. What is that black thing called? That black thing is called the bread mold. It is a type of fungus. वो fungus जो bread mold है, it is actually a microscopic thing. But since they are present in a large number, you are able to see them. Similarly, you might have seen जहाँ पे पानी stagnant होता है, खड़ा होता है पानी move नहीं कर रहा है. For example, a pond. Green slimy things are found over there. What are they? They are algae. Now these algae are actually microscopic. But since they are present in such a huge number, आप उनको naked eye से भी देख सकते हो. But yes, all the fungi or algae are not microscopic. For example, mushroom. Mushroom is a fungi which you can see even without having a microscope. आप उसको naked eye से भी देख सकते हो. Similarly, there are kelps. Kelps. They are found in sea. They are algae. But they are so big that you can see them with your naked eyes as well. You might have seen कि आपने oranges रख दिए या कोई fruit रख दिया है. थोड़े दिन बाद वो ऊपर से पाउडरी वाइट सा हो जाता है, उसके ऊपर पाउडर सा चीज़ आ जाता है. Have you seen? What is that? It is again a fungi which has developed over the fruit. That fungi is called a mold. What is it doing? Actually, it is spoiling the fruit. So see, the microscopic organisms, that is the microbes, can cause adverse effects. They can rot the food, they can rot the fruits, they can rot the bread, and they can also cause many diseases. For example, the disease named tuberculosis, it is caused because of bacteria. The disease dysentery, which is caused by amoeba, which is a protozoa. So, there are many adverse effects or harmful effects of microorganisms. So, let us quickly study few of the adverse effects of microorganisms.
They may cause diseases to humans. They may cause diseases to plants and animals. For example, the plant diseases can be citrus canker, rust of wheat, and at the same time they may cause diseases to animals like anthrax, foot and mouth disease, etc. They may cause rotting of food. They may cause spoilage of leather and other articles, and they may cause spoilage of wood also. You might have seen wood catching fungus. And they may also cause the spoiling of clothes. If the clothes are kept in moist, damp places, you might have seen fungus infesting them.
Well, are all the microscopic organisms harmful to us? No, the microscopic organisms can be useful as well. For example, forming of curd. Curd कैसे बनता है? It is because of lactobacillus. Curd तो हमारे लिए useful है, right? So, this is one of the uses of microorganisms. You know, there are many bacteria which are found in the roots of leguminous plants called the rhizobium. Now, what does these rhizobium do? They help to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. और उससे क्या होता है? ये leguminous plants जो हैं वो नाइट्रोजन को absorb करती हैं और वो प्रोटीन बनाती हैं. And इसीलिए हम कहते हैं that the pulses are rich in protein. The next use of microbes, it is the cleaning of the surrounding. What happens if something dies? Decomposition starts, right? And how does it happen? It happens because of the microorganisms which are working on them. So what do? They are actually helping to clean the environment by decomposing the dead and decaying matters. And there are microorganisms which helps in cooking also. For example, yeast is a type of fungi which helps in making bread, and yeast also helps in the process of fermentation. Fermentation से क्या बनता है? Alcohol बनता है. The microorganisms also help in making manure. क्या होता है? जो पत्ते गिर रहे होते हैं पेड़ से, आप उनको देखते हो थोड़े दिन बाद वो गायब हो जाते हैं. What exactly happens? The leaves which have fallen from the tree are dead and decaying matter. The microorganisms, they start working on them and they break them to make useful thing called manures. So what are manures? They are made from dead and decaying matter with the help of microorganisms. They are nutrient rich and they help to increase the fertility of the soil. Thus, the microorganisms are not only cleaning the surrounding by removing the dead and decaying matter, but at the same time they are also increasing the fertility of soil by making manures out of the dead and decaying matter. So, let us quickly check the process of making of manure. By the process of decomposition, the microorganism, not only helps in making manures, but they also help in making biogas. What is biogas? The gas which is evolved when the microbes work on dead and decaying matter, releasing the gas called biogas. This dead and decaying matter can be the dung of cow. Biogas can be used for cooking and for other domestic purposes as well. Algae are small microscopic things which can perform the process of photosynthesis. During the process of photosynthesis, they give out oxygen. Thus, they supply oxygen to earth. When they are present in water, they supply food to the aquatic herbivore animals. Some of the useful algae that is mentioned in your book are spirulina, chlorella and diatoms. The spirulina is called a superfood. You can also do the farming of spirulina by the following process.
Let's grow some spirulina. Add pond water and a living culture. Stir it twice a week. Watch it multiply over 6 weeks. Now filter and harvest.
Spirulina are rich in vitamin B12 and they have huge health benefits. They are rich in protein and they have very less amount of fat and sugar. And this is the reason they are called the superfood. So you see, the microorganisms are actually useful also.
So let us quickly discuss about the uses of microbes. The first use of microorganism making of curd. The microorganism is the lactobacillus. The next use of microorganism is making of bread. The microorganism is yeast. The next use is making of alcohol. The microorganism is yeast. The next is making of medicine. There are many microorganisms involved in this. Example, penicillin. The next is making of vaccines. Again, there are many microorganisms involved in this. Then is decomposing of waste. Next is making of compost. Next is improving the soil fertility. Example is rhizobium. Next is producing of biogas. Producing biogas. Last but not the least is sewage treatment. It helps to break the harmful organic matter in the wastewater before it is put in the rivers or any other water body.
Now, coming to the end of the chapter, we are going to wrap the chapter with the same concept with which we started the chapter. What is a cell and why is it called the basic unit of life? It is called the basic unit of life because all the living things, whether it be a unicellular living thing or a multicellular living thing, they are made up of cell. आपको पता है किसी भी स्पीशीज को जिंदा रहने के लिए कौन सा फंक्शन सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है? It is reproduction. And this function, the function of reproduction, is also carried out by the cell. Few cells, they do binary fission. For example, amoeba, they reproduce by splitting into two. There are few microorganisms like hydra. They perform the process of reproduction by budding. Even we multicellular organisms, we started with single cell, that is called the egg cell. Tell me, which is the biggest cell that you can see? Yes, it is the egg of an ostrich. That egg is a single cell and it is so big that you can see it through your naked eyes also. So, you see, from one single cell, repeated division took place and that big ostrich is made. Similarly, we also started with one single cell. That single cell is called the egg cell. Repeated division took place and we were formed. So, the sentence that cell is the structural and the functional unit of life is proved again. The unicellular living things, that is the living things which are made up of one cell, has the potential to perform all the activities which we as a multicellular organism perform. Even though it is not visible to our naked eyes, but still each cell of our body is performing all the basic functions which we are performing as a multicellular organism. So, this is the reason why the cells are called the basic unit of life. They are the functional and the structural unit of life. We all, the multicellular organisms, are made up of hundreds and thousands of minute basic structures called the cells. So, students, in this chapter we have learnt about different organisms which are very minute and which we cannot see through our naked eyes. We need a microscope to study them. And we also learnt about the advantages and disadvantages of these microorganisms to us. So, before we wrap up the chapter, let us quickly summarize it.
We discussed about the discovery of microscope, we discussed about what is a cell, we also did the comparison of a plant cell and an animal cell, we discussed about the level of organization, then we talked about the microorganisms, the types of microbes around us, the microbes that are friendly and those which are not friendly, which are foe. We also discussed about the microbes that helps us. We discussed about the microbes that are helpful for making of food. We discussed about microbes that are friend and they help to clean the environment. And finally, summary of the chapter.
So students, I hope you understood the chapter well. This video has benefited you and you liked my way of teaching. If so, please subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends so that it can be useful to others as well. In the description section of this video, I am going to attach the link to the mind maps, the question and answers, the notes and the question bank for this chapter. I hope it benefits you and it helps you through your examination. In case of any doubts, you can always reach me out through my email ID. Best of luck and happy learning. Bye bye.